international business? Just one or two words. What's
Okay.
international business?
If based for my understanding is global business or international business is a business that the production, the sales or the distribution center is across the world and all the countries if possible. So I think the famous is McDonald's, KFC, Pizza Hut, Coca-Cola.
KFC.
Yes.
Okay. Right. So those are examples of international business. Okay, Charlotte, share with me what your thoughts are. In short, okay, in very.
Yeah, I think that international business is are any kind of business related processes that cross international borders. So that could be trade, could be of goods, of services, could be manufacturing. So everything that involves that it's business related and involves more than one country. That's international business, I would say.
Okay, right. Okay, let's hear from Daniel. What
Yeah, I was just thinking the same. As soon as a company is not anymore operating only in their country, and also like as soon as they are getting supplies and or distributing their goods in another country, then they move on to other countries, then they will like perform some kind of international business at least.
Right. Okay, yes. And do you think international business, global business is something which is very recent? Do you think globalization is very recent? Where's Vimalan? Vimalan, we lost Vimalan. Where's Vimalan? You lost him?
I'm here, Doctor.
Oh, you're here. Okay. So Vimalan, what do you think? Do you think global business is just like 5 years ago or 20 years ago, or
No, Doctor. I think it's even been before we gotten our independence, because I think the trades, it has been since I think during the 18th century, 17th century.
Yeah, we have been doing global business ever since.
Ever since, so I think
ever since man, probably global business is only the form and the nature of business as well as the goods,
the trade
or services.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So what about now? Do you think we are in business, Charlotte, international education business? Is this a kind of business?
This university, yeah, of course.
Germany sends students to Meiji University.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, it's not the university. You can look at it as a company as well.
Yeah, sure.
Because it has those organizational parts that every business has. And as we
additional things for us to ponder upon, think about. Okay, let's start international strategic management. Okay, the book gives Disney as an example, okay, of company. It is in the entertainment industry. It is in what else? What education, edutainment, or entertainment, pure entertainment. And it has one in France. In Europe, there is one. Have you been in Tokyo? No, you have not been. You have been, okay. Then so have you been to other Disney World, or have you been to only in Tokyo? Have you been before?
Only in Tokyo.
Okay, so you cannot compare the
not really, no.
Not really compare. I think but anyway, Disney World has been one of the successful entertainment service industry, starting from Orlando, because I studied in US. I went to Orlando to build Orlando, and then in LA, and then Tokyo, Hong Kong, expanding. Is there one in Shanghai? I don't recall.
I think yeah.
Shanghai, and then
very new, yeah.
And Paris, right? In France. Okay. So, but trying to expand, if you read the the chapter description, you see that in trying to expand to different countries, they are faced with different set of regulations and rules and requirements and offerings by the government in terms of incentives and so on, tax, or even in France, for example, they were actually Paris. Why they choose that? Because 350 million people live within a 2-hour plane ride of the city, and the French government gave them incentives, numerous incentives, including bargain price land. Okay, so that is something that has been capitalized by Walt Disney. Okay, in trying to venture into a new market, right? But of course, there are some difficulties faced by challenges actually. Okay, for example, in Hong Kong, 2005, the Disneyland Hong Kong opened. They got 47% equity stake in the 3.6 billion project in an exchange for investment of only for 314 million. Okay, and basically Hong Kong financed the remaining 53% of the share of the company, right? So anyway, the success in US doesn't mean that it is going to be successful in other places. It doesn't mean, okay? Because there's a different kind of culture and so on. Right. So we are going to actually look at how actually companies, what is actually international strategic management. Of course, it's not going to be totally different from strategic management that you have studied before. I mean, all of you probably have studied strategic management. Okay, it's similar, but there are certain things which need to be considered. Okay, which are different. Okay, right. So basically, can you see this? So we want to actually characterize the challenges of international strategic management. We are going to assess the basic strategic alternatives which are available for companies or firms to actually, to utilize, and want to distinguish and analyze the components of international strategy. So that's another thing that we're going to look at. Describe international. This is similar, the strategic management process, but within the context of international, what do you call, business, okay, international business. And we want to identify and characterize the levels of international strategies. So these are the 5 main objectives that we're going to look at. Right. So what is international strategic management? So we want to actually combine international business and strategic management. So we have an idea of what international business is. Then what is international strategic management? Combining with international or global business and strategic management, what does it become? Anyone? What do you think is international strategic management? Daniel?
I think broken down to the pieces or the words itself, it's like the ability or the formulation of a strategy that is not only applicable in a certain country, but also including operations in another country, with facing different regulations, laws, and so on, so that a company has to take care of them as well.
Okay, so Charlotte, what is international strategic management?
That's a good question. I would say so the activities or the strategics or the development of the strategics of the strategies that allow a company to either expand to international territory or operate in international markets. So as you have
what kind of
your home
questions do you
countries.
actually want to ask when you want to go? For example, we're talking about going international, okay? Strategically, what kind of questions probably you're going to
Well, you have to ask yourself which markets do I want to expand into?
right,
When do I want to expand into?
right.
Which
So all these
portfolios? So
questions
how many products?
what products? First of all, you have to have products. If you don't have products, then you know
Yeah, or if you have
services
services,
or
something like that, but
products.
you have to adjust them probably.
Yeah,
just
probably you need to
in
make it suitable for for different markets.
Yeah, regarding laws and also the language, for example.
Yes, exactly.
And then you have to think about how you want to enter the market. If you want to build up a factory or a company there yourself, or if you want to do a joint venture.
Right. So
the
we're going
forms of
to
market entry.
exactly.
Something you
So
have
we're
to
going to
decide on.
move to that, that thinking, right? How are we going to export? Are we going to, is it product suitable for, like Dura gave example McDonald's, is it suitable for franchising or is it suitable for licensing? So these are, you're going to open up a lot of, questions that only companies can answer this. Companies can only answer this, the questions of, of how, of what, of when, to enter, the market. Okay. So the book's answer is this. Okay. The book's answer. It is a comprehensive and continuous management planning process. So you're going to formulate and implement strategies. So it's actually similar to strategic management, but now within the context of international business, especially how to compete effectively in a global marketplace. Okay. So how to compete effectively in the market, as well as whether, if you go global, your strategic planning process must be in place, and it cannot be just, based on local context. It cannot be just, meeting the domestic market condition. So that's why how you actually, let me use my pen. Okay, it's a bit bit not clean. Okay, but anyway, I need to use this so that I can point out. So your senior managers from domestic and foreign subsidiaries will need to actually sit down together and think about the the new products, when are going to actually launch the product. That's why it's very competitive, right? Very competitive. We're not if we are working for Mercedes, probably you can see how the competition is with, for example, I don't know, BMW competes with Mercedes, but it's both German company. So luxury car is dominated by Germany. Okay. German dominate the luxury car market. Anyway, so how to compete effectively in the global marketplace? How do we have a strategic planning process? Okay. So the fundamental questions that we need to answer when we want to actually go global is what products and services to sell. So that's fundamental questions. Of course, the products that we sell must fit the market. I mean, that's another set of questions that must be also addressed. Okay. Where and how to make them. you will see later on that, probably next chapter, okay, the stages of going international, starting from very small, just exporting, indirect exporting, and then moving to direct exporting for tangible products, for example. Okay, so where and how to make them. Nike does not make. Nike is an American company, sportswear. Nike, Adidas is Germany, is it? No, Adidas is Germany. So you don't make any more Adidas in Germany. You make your, or you may be producing very little, okay, very, just niche, high end. But those, common ones have been produced in China, in Vietnam, in, I don't know, Indonesia, right? Or even the branded goods of, Yves Saint Laurent, or, all these luxury garment, shirt manufacturers, they produce in Vietnam, in Bangladesh. Okay, it's a global, because of competitiveness. Competitiveness, you want to actually, gain that location, and as well as that probably, the cost. Where and how to sell them, okay, those are fundamental questions. Where and how to get resources. Obviously, right? Where to get the resources? If especially you are producing products, then where to get the materials, where to get skilled laborers, where to get engineers, or even IT programmers. That's why India is so successful, because it produces many IT experts, okay, software programmers. And anyway, so where and how to get resources, how to outperform the competition. So these are all fundamentals when you talk about strategy. Strategy is how to become the leader, how to gain market share, how to, improve profitability, and so on. Okay, but of course, the complexities, we need to understand and deal with multiple or different issues, multiple things that we need to actually understand. Governments, in terms of their, licensing approval process. Japan, okay, now since I've lived in Japan for 2 months, lived in Japan, okay, like a citizen, the government department is slow, okay. In Malaysia, we can issue our driving license in not even half a day, okay, in one year actually. Currencies, accounting system, all this need to be culture, the way of doing business between another country, or another or even culture. Japanese culture and German culture is, it's different. So we need to understand that. We need to have an idea, and it's important to, follow the culture. It's very important to follow the culture, right? A language. Oh my God, trying to survive in Japan with all this kanji, really, Charlotte is muzukashi, very difficult surviving. Anyway,
Yeah.
imagine the business, they try to come here, and all the regulations are in, they need, a local partner. Actually. They really need a local partner to interpret all the regulation, all the rule, and all the small, what do you call that? Fine print. Read the fine print so that you don't get yourself into trouble, or get yourself into, on a difficulty actually. Right. So this is something that must be, and you need to have a certain kind of trade-off, basically acceptable trade-off between, all these different issues. Okay, different what do you call these are challenges actually. The complexity results into these so-called challenges. Right. So the challenges of international strategic management is to actually exploit the three sources of competitive advantage. So we need to trade off between this, between global efficiencies, because when you go abroad, you're trying to actually try to get efficiencies, including cost reduction, greater market share and so on. Okay, multinational flexibility. When you go, multinational, you must actually when you're flexible, you can gain more market actually. You can growth if you you are flexible enough. And going abroad as well will allow worldwide learning. What do you mean by worldwide learning? When a company goes to sell their product or provide their services in a new market, okay, when we say worldwide learning, what does it entail? What do you think? Dora, what do you think? Worldwide learning, when you able to sell a product in Indonesia, in the Philippines.
I think the worldwide learning is the different of the culture, the environments. I think it's and add up to the knowledge of the company in order
Okay.
to understand the
That added knowledge that you learn, what will you be able to capitalize or use? Charlotte, if you you go abroad, you learn new ways of doing things. What does it help to your home country? For example, you are US based and you go to China or you go to Taiwan. What happens?
Well, new ways of thinking always help, because just because you're doing it one way in or you're doing things one way in your country doesn't mean that's the most efficient way.
Yeah.
And maybe you can actually learn something. For example, I think most of the countries adapted to the production systems from Japan to the Toyota production system. So they actually learned something from a company abroad.
Exactly.
Really helped them. And maybe they did not adapt it 100%, but I think they took their lessons.
If they can adopt like 20%, 50%, it's going to be, improving in terms of their efficiency, or even cost reduction. Yeah, it's a classic example of, Toyota production or lean. We call it lean, lean manufacturing or lean, lean systems. And many manufacturing companies actually gain by adopting Kaizen, adopting, JIT. So it results into, sometimes when I look at it, it's almost like most automotive companies, BMW or Mercedes, will probably have, some influence of this, Kaizen, or even continuous improvement philosophy. It has been around, but probably the Japanese or the Toyota has actually structured it in a way that it is actually easily learned and adaptable to many cultures actually. I mean, trying to improving should be the way of doing things, right? I mean, improving. Today should be better than yesterday and so on. Okay, right. So so companies must exploit these three sources of competitive advantage, trying to gain global efficiencies, trying to also gain multinational flexibility, as well as gain worldwide learning as you go, global. Right. So when companies adopt one of the previous three competitive advantage, okay, either so now we're going to talk about the strategic alternatives. Strategic alternative mean how you can actually, what is your philosophy? What is your thinking? Okay, what are you going to actually have a home replication strategy? Home replication strategy means you're just going to, well, the word replicate means copy, right? You're going to just copy. Intel likes this. Intel, they have this concept called copy exact. If you have heard of it before, okay? CE, copy exact. Copy exact means copy exactly. You know, for example, they have this chip processing plant in US. They copy exactly and make the factory and the facilities in Penang, Malaysia, way back in the 70s. But of course, they have to do some improvement and they do some, adjustments. So whatever has been changed in Penang now, they try to replicate and build a factory in Vietnam, in Ho Chi Minh, for example, or in Shanghai. So it's a home replication strategy. Home replication strategy. You don't actually change much. It can be done for manufacturing, actually. You know, you can actually have a home replication strategy for BMW factories to be like, implanted into one country and assembling, exactly the same thing. Okay. If you have heard of, Proton, which is the Malaysian national car, which was established in Malaysia tried to, become one of car manufacturer. The previous Prime Minister Tun Mahathir. So they created, a new company called Proton. So Proton is actually a joint venture between Malaysian HiCom, Heavy Industries Corporation, and Mitsubishi. Mitsubishi Motors and Mitsubishi Corporation. It was in 1983. So, I was part of it because I was trained in Japan for 1 year. And the factory is actually exactly the same factory as Okazaki plant. Okazaki is a city in, they have a Mitsubishi Okazaki. So the factory is, they replicate the production line and everything and built the same factory in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. Okay. And the product was actually Lancer Fiore. Same product, only extended a little bit by 2-inch. It's a Dora, you do not know the story, but this is it's just the replicating same product. Okay, replicating the system, the quality system, the production system, the machineries. Because Malaysia did not have any automotive manufacturing technology. So that's the only best way to actually learn how to actually make a car. So home replication strategy. And luckily the partner Mitsubishi wanted to give the technology. It's not easy for companies to actually give technology, right? This is propriety to companies, right? So either you're going to follow home replication strategy or multi-domestic strategy. Let me see. Okay. So multi-domestic strategy, the firm views itself as a collection of relatively independent operating subsidiaries, each focus on a specific domestic market. Okay, so it is multi-domestic. That means in one country it is it is replication, but it's going to be following the domestic way of doing the business and the products or the service. So it's a multi-domestic strategy that can be used, because these are alternative, right? Strategic and alternative that companies can actually adopt. Or you go for global strategy. So global strategy will the philosophy is this, the thinking is this: the firm views the world as a single marketplace and has a primary goal of creating standardized goods. So in global strategies, like in many automotive companies, it is actually producing standardized goods. Okay, standardized goods and services, right? Goods and services, right? So it's a global strategy. Many of the probably hotel chains as well, you know, will probably follow that as well. Right. So this is the third alternative, and the other one is the transnational strategy. Okay. Transnational, combining the benefits of global strategy and the multi-domestic strategy. So it's transnational. So we'll probably use some of the products that are being developed in one country and trying to use that features into a different country. So it's a transnational strategy. Okay. Right. So this is a bit. So this is strategy only for balancing pressure for global integration and local responsiveness. So basically, when we go global, we need to actually be aware of local responsiveness, whether local receive or not the product, right? We cannot be selling, for example, McDonald's, they cannot be selling beef burgers in India. Bimalan? Do you understand me? I mean,
Yeah,
also
Yeah.
McDonald's will have to sell, halal burgers in Malaysia or in Saudi or in Muslim-based countries, right? So they need to know the local responsiveness in terms of, their products, or even in, other kinds of of goods. Okay. Okay. So this is what I mentioned just now. Okay. Pressure for global efficiency is low here, it's high here. This is local responsiveness and flexibility low, and this is high. So if it is low responsiveness and low efficiency, you don't care about efficiency, you just want to actually gain market share. Okay, just sell your product. So home replication. So the firm uses the core competencies for the companies develop at home or domestic, and they sell it abroad. Okay, or they export it abroad. Whereas global strategy is having a global product, standardized goods and services. The problem is that you need to understand standardized goods. For Samsung, iPhone is a standardized product for the whole world, as if the whole world wants to have and I mean they're successful actually in creating a single standardized goods. Multi-domestic is the company views itself as a collection of relatively independent operating subsidiaries. So each companies that serve in different markets is actually a subsidiary, and they have their headquarters in their home country. Right. So transnational is high responsiveness, high efficiency. So the company or the firm attempts to combine the benefits of global scale efficiencies with the benefits of local responsiveness. Okay. Let me see. Transnational. Okay. So the book says Sony and Matsushita uses the global strategy. Okay, I think I don't know, BMW. Which strategy probably they are using? What do you think? BMW or Mercedes? You know, which particular strategy? Just a guess, just a wild guess. It's okay. Now, Charlotte, just a wild guess.
I would,
Or you know
well,
about it.
ooh, I think, okay, so it's not a global strategy because they have different products in different countries. For example, in China, they have additional cars, which they
Okay.
don't have
So,
in the European markets.
probably it's a
So
multi-domestic strategy.
yeah, I
You
would
know?
say it's rather multi-domestic, but still it's a little bit centralized to Germany. So I think that the German headquarters still has the saying or the final
have the final say
thinking.
of, yeah.
Yeah, but all in all, I would say it's a rather multi-domestic strategy because they have subsidiaries in every country where they operate, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to take, I have actually put into my schedule 10-minute break. So let's take a 10-minute break, 10-minute breather. Take a coffee. Let me see here. Okay. Yeah. You need you guys need a 15-minute break. So let's come back at around 10:30. Have a coffee and or have your breakfast. Vimalan, I know you haven't had your breakfast. Go and have your breakfast. Okay. Right. Let's come back at 10:30. Okay.
Thank you, Doctor.
Right. Okay. Shall we continue from where we stopped just now? Okay. So the next thing that I'm going to talk about is actually components of an international strategy. So after deciding the overall direction of the philosophy, previously we talked about whether multi-domestic or home replication. So we need to understand the components that that are important in strategy. So the first one is actually distinctive competence. The question is, what do we do exceptionally well? As as a company, what do we have, especially as compared to our competitors, that we can actually go global? The second component is the scope of operations, which is actually trying to answer where are we going to conduct business. Okay, are we going to export it? Are we going to have new factories? Are we going to just have R&D facilities? So we have to actually have to understand the scope of operations. Resource deployment, given that we are going to compete in these markets, how should we allocate our resources to them? So we have our competent engineers, or we have our competent designers. Should we send how many people should we send? So those are resource deployment issues that need to be answered. And synergy, okay, where how can the different elements of our business benefit each other? How, when we go global, how are you going to ensure that it is synergized, not not doing things in a disintegrated manner, right? So we need to synergize, probably the different business units that we are venturing into. So much more detailed explanation of distinctive competence like cutting edge technology. So it's answering what do we do exceptionally well? Do we have the brand name that other countries would like to actually want to buy our products, right? You cannot sell a luxury product in a relatively middle income country, a low income country. People cannot afford to buy luxury items, right? Okay, or branded items. efficient distribution networks. Can we create that? Do we have that efficient distribution network? That is our, distinctive competence. Do we have superior organizational practices that we can actually that we can use in other countries, or in making our products, or in selling our products, or distributing our products? So, like Toyota production systems, that is organizational superior organizational practices that can be what do you call used. But of course, Toyota doesn't have. They have subsidiaries, right? They don't have joint ventures, but it's normally mostly controlled by Toyota, and they must follow their system, right? Okay, so this is the distinctive competence that needs to be well-respected brand name. These are things that we have in order to go global, that the company have. Scope of operation will try to answer this kind of questions, like geographic region. Do we want to operate in the Middle East market? Do you want to operate in the, do you want to sell products in the Southeast Asian market, or EU, European market, or North American market? Because the world is divided by, the world is divided, okay? The world is divided by many things. Like Charlotte, the world is divided by many things, by boundaries, by free trade areas, by military coalition, and in business also, Yeah. So our scope of operation: countries, regions within the country, or clusters of countries, and then in terms of operation, are we going to market our premium quality, market niche products, or product niche products, low cost, what do you call specialized market, and so on. So where are we going to conduct business? Okay, because when you set up, or you try to go global, if the worst thing that can happen is actually the product is not well received, and you're not going to even increase your market share, or you cannot compete with the local players, especially the government doesn't allow competition, right? So in Japan, do we find Uber in Japan? Charlotte, do we have Uber, or in
I
Malaysia?
actually have no idea.
No, I
if they
tried
have
because
Uber here.
they don't have. In Malaysia, it's very popular. It's very,
Yeah.
we have Grab, but Uber tried to come in, but the government, there
Well,
was.
we don't have Uber in Germany, so I'm not
Oh, you
used
don't
to
have
using
Uber.
it.
You don't have Uber. Because it's
I
so
thi-
convenient. It's so convenient.
we
You don't
have it in the
have to
big
have a
cities.
car. You can just leave your car and just take a Grab or Uber and go from one place to another place.
Yeah, of course.
It's
But I think the problem is that in Germany, the labor costs are too high to actually work
right.
in
So
that way
probably,
that the model will work.
So probably Uber didn't consider Germany at all. When they go global, they go to Southeast Asia, and they
Yeah, I think they started with that. I'm not sure if we have it in the really big cities like Berlin, but I don't
there is
think
none in
so.
Tokyo. I cannot get an Uber. I cannot get. Dura, can you imagine Tokyo doesn't have a Grab?
Maybe because
in
the
Malaysia.
public transportation is efficient. I think.
No. The transportation is efficient, but there are certain, last mile, connection. For example, okay, not last mile lah. I wanted to buy certain, furniture. Okay, I cannot get, transporter is
Oh.
quite expensive to actually, if I can get a Grab, can just get a Grab and get the things and send it to my house, But now I was like, I was thinking, kenapa tak ada Grab ni? so, but anyway, that's the kind, scope operations that you know, the companies that need to think about. Okay. So where are we going to go? Where are we going to conduct business? And the question of resource deployment in terms of given that we're going to compete in those markets, then resource deployment mean which product lines we are going to actually you know, sell or produce, or you know, get ourselves involved in. Okay. Or even geographical lines in terms of resource. There's so many things: materials, humans, you know, your equipment, you know, your systems, so your resource deployment that you need to actually think about. Okay. And the combination of product lines and geographical lines. Okay. Right. And the other thing is synergy. Synergy means of course, you will answer how can different elements of our business benefit each other. Okay, because many companies does not exist as just one, you know, one unit. And when you export or you try to sell cars or luxury cars, for example, Mercedes in a new market, you need to set up the sales and after service. You know, you need to set up the production facility. You need to set up your transportation and logistics and so on. So you need to actually integrate this together, right? So how can different elements of our business benefit from each other, and especially when in the home country, you know, the distribution is one company, the sales is one company, the manufacturing is one company, then you're trying to enter a new market. These three different, you know, entities must work together to make it successful in the new market. Because, you know, we cannot just be, you know, managing, you know, the same way in the domestic business as in a global business. Okay. So the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. Synergy. Or even, for example, the you know, some units taking care of the negotiation about acquiring the land, or taking care with the government regulations and so on. So this unit must also talk together with, you know, the other units that are going to be involved, for example, in production or manufacturing. Okay. Okay, we move on by going into this is similar to any strategic strategic management. Okay, but of course we should be mindful of, you know, the different challenges of culture, government, you know, regulations, you know, the requirement, safety requirements for different countries, you know, is different. For example, in Japan, safety requirements are probably very, very stringent compared to Southeast Asian countries. Okay, Southeast Asian country, we can get away with many things which are unsafe. Okay, but in developed, I don't know in Germany, but in Japan, I think you can see that. Germany, probably the safety standard is also quite high, you know, same in UK, you know, in US, right? So many things that need to be considered. But strategically, so in terms of strategy, you need to, of course, you need to formulate the strategies, then implement the strategies. Formulating strategies are very easy. From my experience, formulating strategies are very easy, because people have a lot of ideas. But the problem is implementation. You know, the problem has always been, you know, how well, you know, the strategies have been implemented and how successful. and how to measure successful, and how to make feedback so that you re-strategize, for example. But this is the common step in terms of developing strategies, develop mission statement, perform SWOT analysis, set strategic goals, tactical goals and plans, and develop a control framework, which is actually related to the implementation, right? How you're going to make sure that your strategies are going to be successful. There are many, methodologies. There are balanced scorecard. There are Hoshin countries. The Japanese use Hoshin country, if you have heard of that. But anyway, in terms of the common steps, steps in national strategy formulation. So developing a mission statement means defining the firm's values, purpose, and direction. SWOT analysis. SWOT means strength, weaknesses, opportunity, and threats. SWOT. You assess the firm's external and internal environments to identify the strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Opportunities. Okay. I'm a Muslim actually. Okay, I'm a Muslim. So I see the great opportunity for selling halal products in Japan. Halal, have you heard of halal, Charlotte? Halal, yeah. So there's a lot of opportunity, and I do not know why Malaysian companies are not capitalizing on those. Bimalan, set up one halal company and sell to Japan. You become a millionaire.
Okay, Dr. I will
Serious,
take that
I'm not
into
joking.
consideration.
Apa dia, Bimalan?
I will take that into consideration, Doctor.
Yeah, rather than it's a niche, market. And also sometimes I was wondering, it's so easy to actually, if a company, a Japanese company, okay, so halal means you have to have of course you cannot sell the pork and so on, but if you're selling seafood, for example, a fish shop can be converted into halal, and you capture that additional market. But of course they don't know, right? In German also, if you sell halal, you're capturing the halal market. You're capturing both. The net is this: the population is consists of people who eat non-halal and halal. You capture, because the non-halal, they can eat the halal. You understand what I mean? It's by providing halal, everybody can eat, and you can capture that additional market share actually. I hope you understand. Whatever the population is 10 million what do you call Christians, right? Christians, and 2 million Muslims. If by providing halal, you capture this 2 million into your market, 12 million additional, free of charge. Free of charge. Nothing. No, it's just getting the sauce from, and the price is the same. Getting a halal chicken, slaughtered, it's the same. It's like kosher, right? Jews actually eat kosher meat. Do you know that? The Jews actually have kosher. So kosher, we can eat kosher. I can eat kosher meat because it's slaughtered by by a Jew. It's kosher. Kosher is halal actually. Kosher is similar to halal. Anyway, I'm I think you know me, Charlotte. You have been with me for many weeks, and I like to wander around and think about things which are probably out of the topic a little bit. But anyway, SWOT analysis, opportunities. There's abundant of opportunities. Abundant. Of course, threat. There are threats as well. When companies go abroad, there will be especially threats as well. Then you set the strategic goals, exploit the company's strength and environmental opportunities. You try to neutralize the threats. You can actually try to build up your technology if you do not have the technology. Develop tactical goals. Okay, these are the common steps. Common steps. Right. So mission statement is the organization. But I think you know, most of you know this already. What is mission statement? Dora. Other than this word, don't rate this word, but give it your own word. What is mission?
Mission, I think in not a method, I think it's a way or to achieve their goal, how to achieve their goal.
How to achieve the goal is going to be your strategy, but this is your, you know, for example, my mission statement, you know, it can become your, you know, your purpose of being. Okay, Charlotte, mission statement.
I think the idea behind your company and what you want to achieve,
The
or
idea,
through what you want to achieve that, because
okay, what you want to achieve. Okay,
yeah, because the
what you want to
vision
achieve.
is what you want to achieve, and I think the mission is how you achieve it, right?
Okay, mission is mission. How you're going to achieve? Okay, how you're going to, you know, what is the, if you read here,
Yeah, what is the goal of your company?
right. What is the goal of the company? Because this purpose, values, and directions will, you know, point towards your goals. Okay. So you will, you know, why you exist. For example, why, you know, universities exist. University exists to provide education to the masses, so that society, you know, a society which learned society versus society which are, you know, not to say stupid, but less knowledgeable and, you know, less no values. You know, what happened? What will be, you know, what's the direction? You know, a family without a direction versus a family with a direction. What's going to happen? Daniel, okay, I'll pick on you, Daniel.
Like if you have a direction, then you can like you working towards a common goal, and you can achieve whatever your goal is much easier. And even afterwards, when you like have a look back, then you can say whether you did it good or not. So you have kind of you can like make a result out of that. You can evaluate it in the end when you had an aim, and then yeah.
Yeah. Right. So we have a goal. You move towards that goal, and you know, at the end of that timeline. So you need some timeline. Then you actually assess, you know, how good you fare, how do you perform. Then you re-strategize and you try to realign. So that's why it's a continuous process of you know, trying to learn, especially growing global is a continuous learning process. Definitely. Okay. The firm's target, these are, you know, things and geographical domain. So concern for survival. Yeah, if you have a goal, then you're thinking about your survival. How many companies have today no more in existence compared to 50 years ago? When I was born, there are many companies making cars, but today you can't find this company. Can you give me an example of a car company that doesn't exist today? 50 years ago, it was a big company in Britain. Many, if you look at the...
Well, I'm not sure if it's, I think it's American, but General Motors.
General Motors is probably still around. British
Yeah, but
Leyland.
not as its
Yeah,
own
no,
brand,
as
right?
big as before. Yeah, have you heard of British Leyland, British Motor Corporation, BMC, or even you know, German bought over Cooper. Mini Cooper is no more a British, you know, car. It is a German BMW. Is it BMW made?
Yeah, it's BMW.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Mini Cooper died. Proton died actually. Dora. Proton died. My company, not my company, the company that I worked before today is owned by Geely.
Yes.
Geely owns Proton. And also they have shares with Volvo. Well, this is a very difficult question. Very difficult question. But you can do, no, it's very interesting actually. If you are into research, try to figure out, why companies actually survive long. For example, Mercedes, BMW, why they can survive? Toyota, why they can, and why company? Because they have a very strong mission statement. They have a very strong value system. Very strong value system. If you study Toyota, there's a very strong, sense of being. Okay, their mission statement is probably correct when they started and until today. Okay. Okay, so essentially their basic philosophy, their plans for growth and profitability, the desired public image. And let me just take a breather here. Let me. Okay. I'm going to show you Toyota. We can Google as well as I Google with you. Okay. This is Toyota's website. Okay, Toyota's website. I mean, no, I'm not. I'm just going example. Okay, I can pick up BMW, but Toyota is one of my, admired companies. Okay. Where is it? Global. Okay, philosophy. Have you ever Googled this and seen this before? Anyone? Daniel, have you? No?
Not exactly, or not from Toyota, but I saw it on other companies' websites before. Like not
Okay,
philosophy, maybe more like mission and vision, what we talked about.
Okay, right. So this is Toyota's, philosophy. So this is their philosophy. The founding, the principles in which the company is being set up, and the value system has been transmitted. They started 40s and 1940s, like probably like 60 years, 70 years. Okay, same, philosophy, same. I studied this actually. I did my sabbatical 5-6 years ago, and Toyota principles, the founders at Toyota. Just read one of them. Always be studious and creative, striving to stay ahead of time. This is their value system that is instilled in their employees. I mean, every day if I talk to you, like in Charlotte, when you take the train, every time, okay, the train is coming here, please don't. So it's like, if you are a Japanese, it's already like memorized already. Every day they keep on. But why do they still keep, saying the same thing day in, day out?
Because I think what they are saying here is really like an overall opinion, and which is not specific to any time, but it can be applied every time in every situation.
Yeah.
So
yes,
it's still up to date today. So that's why I think they still have it on there probably.
Yeah, their principles is evergreen. Evergreen. It is something which is, respect for spiritual matters. It doesn't say about religion, but it says spiritual matters. Remember to be grateful at all times. You see the number? Remember to be grateful at all times. I mean, that's why you know, these are some of the reasons in which they are successful. Their mission is very simple: producing happiness for all. Nothing fancy. Nothing. I mean, they don't go big. You know, talk about you are going to become the biggest producer like in Malaysia. When we develop this mission, our mission is we are going to become the biggest manufacturer of this. You know, we're trying to and sometimes it become too wordage and too statement, and then we're going to actually do some SWOT analysis, environmental scanning of, you know, external opportunities and threat, internal to the organization, the strengths, the weaknesses, you know, what our values, systems, what are we good at, you know, design, what technology do we have, and so on. And it's actually related to the competitive advantage, the value chain, the Michael Porter's value chain, right? So these are the primary activities from research, development, product design, manufacturing, marketing, distribution, after sales services. I remembered, okay, you know that the car industry during the 50s, 60s, the after sales service is very bad. Do you know after sales service? I mean, when cars get wrong, warranty. And I strongly believe that, you know, the Japanese management system or manufacturing system have actually improved this, because, you know, cars are not in the garage for a long time, you know, because quality of service is, you know, getting the car used. As you know, you don't buy a car to be put in a garage for months waiting for spare parts to arrive. I remember when I was young, you know, people were saying that Fiat cars, Fiat is made in Italy, I think. We waited like 6-7 months for a part to actually arrive to be, you know, for maintenance purpose. So no, you don't. That's not adding, you know, adding value to the customer. Okay, and customer will run away. Basically, if you sell a car, customer won't buy your car because the word spread out. You don't buy this car because if it is damaged or there's something wrong, you have to wait for a long time. Okay, so this has changed. Well, in Malaysia, Proton is having this problem. Like Geely is having problem trying to repair cars. They have a long waiting time for parts to arrive from China. That is happening in you don't tak dengar, you don't hear about this.
Yeah. No, I know about it.
Because my friends who are in the automotive industry in Malaysia are telling me that, you know, Geely is having difficulty, you know, owners of
X50, I think the latest one.
X50, X50, X70 has to wait long. Okay. By the way,
Yes.
so this value chain and these support activities must be you know, considered as part of the you know, SWOT analysis. Okay, like Nike outsource manufacturing in Vietnam. Okay, Nike 400,000 workers in factories contract out. This is contract manufacturing. We'll see this as one of the different modes of globalizing, okay, or global business. Contract manufacturing. Okay, so value chain marketing and de-emphasize manufacturing. So Nike has sourced out their, because it's probably cheap labor, and then not very high, you know, technology. It's not rocket science to make you know, to make sportswear. It's not. Okay. So the next thing is the strategic goals. So the goals or the objectives that the company try to achieve must be measurable, must be feasible, and of course there must be time limited. There must be some duration and deadlines. Okay. And from there you achieve you must develop your tactics. Okay, how to specific tactical goals and plans. When are you going to start building the new facilities, where are you going to source the building materials and so on. Okay, so tactics, if you're going to actually build a new factory in a new market, for example. So specific tactics must be developed and usually involve middle managers. That's why I say strategic planning, coming out with the tactics, coming out with the, action plans, people can experience in that can easily come up with this. Okay, all kinds of, steps to follow. But the most difficulty is the implementation. You believe me, after you start trying to be involved in this strategic planning process in your organization, okay, you will see that people can develop this tactics, and tactics focus on the details of implementing the goals. Okay, if you want to export, for example, okay, what kind of logistics, what kind of payment system and so on that you need to actually develop and implement. And finally, the control framework. Okay, we have another actually chapter on this later on. Control design. Okay, international organizational design and control. Okay, that. So how are you going to actually make sure that your strategy is going to be successful? So you need managerial processes. You need what are the management system that is going to be in place in the new setup, plus organizational processes. The procurement processes, the design processes. Okay, and people from two different countries with different languages, how are you going to make sure that there is no misunderstanding of communication. Okay, it's more than that basically. For example, imagine Boeing produces makes aeroplanes, and they source their parts from Japan, from what do you call, even there are certain components made in Malaysia. They need to actually integrate so that it fits into their system, right? When you do programming, you need to actually use their language and not use our own language to actually fit into them. Right. So this is a combination of managerial process and organizational goals. Okay, in terms of levels of international strategy, 3 levels. Okay, for multinational corporation, whether you're going to go for single the corporate strategy, whether it is a single business strategy, whether it is related diversification or unrelated diversification. So single business means just one particular business, or related diversification, same, okay, or unrelated. Okay, so that's at a corporate level. Corporate level, you decide on where you're going to actually move. Okay, that's corporate. Business strategy, so you're going to decide whether you're going to compete based on differentiation or compete based on cost leadership, or you're going to compete on uniqueness or focus. Okay, your focus is in technology, high tech. Okay, you're going to sell high tech. Of course, it's also probably that is a differentiation. So corporate level, business level, and functional level. At functional level, of course, it must cascade down. Cascade means you have to actually move it down. It cannot be planning and strategy cannot be at the corporate level only. It must actually move down towards until the functional it become a functional strategies that will actually support your business strategy. So functional means, you know, your finance strategy, your marketing strategy, your operation strategy, or your human resource strategy and R&D strategy. Okay. So these are the levels